Passion is an innate ability, driven for some certain reasons. People have passion for different things. For the distinguished Senator Osita Izinazo, his passion for persons with disability has been a childhood habit that has grown through the years. And yes, the Pampado Foundation today marks its 15th year anniversary. You can imagine a child who was born 15 years ago. That child right now will be trying to become an adult. The foundation has experienced its hard times, its soft times, has experienced its gains, and of course its losses. In everything you're doing in life, you're sure to experience challenges. And through the years, Pampado Foundation has had its own fair share of all this. Today, we celebrate the 15th year anniversary of this wonderful foundation that has come in a special way to touch persons with disability. This is the Ahiojoku Center. So much is going to be going on in this hall, and all I urge you to do is to sit with us on Against All Odds, and we will bring everything to your doorstep. Don't go away. My name is Doshima Pius Ikirafe. We're here live in Imo State, Owerri.
This is Against All Odds.
The Batmando Foundation, a philanthropic organization for the physically challenged persons, is a foremost non-governmental charity organization that caters for the well-being of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. Batmando, which means star, is an annual event organized yearly on the 30th of October. This year, however, due to unforeseen circumstances, the date was changed to the 8th of December to commemorate the birthday of the founder and chief executive of Batmando Foundation, distinguished Senator Osita Izinazo. The 15th year anniversary took place at Ajojokwe Center in Owerri, Imo State, and all clusters of persons with disabilities were over at the event center to celebrate a day they cherish so much. Also, in attendance to witness the occasion were politicians, clergy, traditional rulers, and well-meaning Nigerians.
In times of disaster and emergencies, the interests of particular needs of persons with disability are not isolated and given the rightful attention that it demands. So this committee would work with the relevant stakeholders to ensure that persons living with disability are not just seen with sympathy, but are seen with the various qualities that they possess, and they are properly harnessed and put into nation building. They have talent, they've got potentials, they've got dreams, and those dreams will support them to live to it to the fullest of those dreams.
Okay, so far so good. The foundation has been consistent for the last 15 years, reaching out to the persons with disability across the entire length and breadth of this country in order to cater for the less privileged and persons with disability across the Nigeria.
This foundation, which was founded on the pure grounds of passion for persons with disabilities, has survived the hustles and struggles for 15 years of their existence, using all its resources and treasure to touch lives. Medical teams from various hospitals were at the event to give free medical service to persons with disabilities.
Batmando is our partner organization. Every year we try to come and join together hand to hand for the needy people. And by the grace of God, we are going to screen more than 100 people here And then if we have seen any cataract patients, we are going to do the free operation for them in Abuja, Nizami Hospital.
So we're here to do physical examination. We're here to look at their general medical checks, at the blood pressures, the vital signs. We have sugar tests, malaria, typhoid, basic checks, as much as what the environment will permit. So it's quite a long array of investigations going on here. And we have the treatments too. We have drugs.
This is Against All Odds.
Still in the spirit of celebrating the 15th year anniversary of the Pampadu Foundation. 15 years is a long time. And for a child who was born 15 years ago, you can imagine how grown the child will be. We have with us on Against All Odds, distinguished Senator Osita Izinaso. He is the founder of the Pampadu Foundation. It's good to have you on Against All Odds, distinguished.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I can imagine what it was like 15 years ago when you started up this foundation. The rate of awareness for persons with disability was very low. People did not, people did not believe that these people actually have enough ability or capability to be able to become what they desire to become. And one will only guess that it was really difficult then trying to, carry them along and make people believe in them to be able to support and all that. You had challenges. Can you talk to us about it?
Taking us 15 years ago, it was like venturing into an unknown sector. But we felt that with time, people will get to know about it. And if I may take you back once more, apart from that, should be sometime in 1984 or thereabout, when there was a decree for persons with disability. Even that decree was eventually not even passed into law, because soon after a new government came and that was abandoned. Now, we haven't even had any legal framework for persons with disability in Nigeria, except last year. So that goes to say that even the awareness is still not there. In most other countries, it is not possible for you to build a house without providing for mobility access for persons with disability. It is not possible for you to create a car park without providing for persons with disability. It is still not even possible for you to build a car without building cars that persons with disability of any type can drive. Much as Nigeria is a signatory to the Right of Persons Convention of the United Nations about 12 to 13 years ago, but even then, we still was not able to domesticate the law for the rights of persons with disability until last year. And this is something that we have pushed for about 19 years, but we got it sorted out only last year when President Muhammad Buhari signed that bill into a law and it becomes an act of parliament. So last year and this year, I think is the best years for persons with disability in Nigeria. We also thank Mr. President for finally setting up the commission for persons with disability. And National Assembly have just confirmed those nominees. So we are now set to go.
Before the commission came up, of course, we have a lot of persons who have privately catered for persons with disability. So what is their place right now with the commission?
You see, it is not the same people who run this foundation that have been fighting for it to be created. So it does not stop them from existing.
Okay.
But they have to collaborate.
Yes.
Because the commission will not cover everything. Mm-hmm. Today, don't you have Ministry of Women Affairs? Don't you have a lot of women NGOs advocating for women's rights and all the rest of them? There are things that the commission, don't forget that the commission was set up by law. So they have things that they can do, and they have things that they can't do, even if they want to do. So they're restricted. The NGOs are not restricted. So even when the commission is failing in certain of its responsibilities, the NGO will call them to order. So, I mean, it is a healthy development for the two of them to exist side by side. In fact, you need the commission. The NGOs need the commission to survive. The commission needs the NGO to be relevant, because you can't do it without the NGOs. There is no awareness. The awareness is low. So more hands are needed. In fact, people should even venture into the awareness of certain clusters of disability. Today we have about 7 clusters. The albinos have joined, making it 7 now.
Let's go back to Kwankwaso, which has existed this far, and it's sheer passion, definitely. Everything that has pushed this foundation this far is passion. What does the future hold?
Well, the future of Kwankwaso Foundation is very bright, extremely bright, in the sense that we're happy that our membership is increasing on a daily basis. Today we have about 5,000 plus who are members of Kwankwaso Foundation, who have registered as our members. Don't forget that you don't register with a kobo. Yes, those who can go online, goes online to register. Those who cannot go online, we give them form. They fill, put in their passport, and tell us what their area of their special needs, and we work towards that. So if you look at our empowerment scheme, it is targeted at scale. It's targeted at starting something for them. But the real future for Kwankwaso Foundation is that we are targeting that building a school, Kwankwaso Foundation School for persons with disability. That is our target, and we're working towards that. And by the special grace of God, if you have people that can partner with us in setting it up, we'll partner. The school is going to be both formal and informal, where persons with disability can be taken on skill acquisition and also formal education. Those that can do formal education can do. Those that cannot do formal education can do skill. And once they come out, we'll start up something for them, and we follow them up and see that they have succeeded in the choosing endeavor. Our target is also to go to some rural areas and start fishing for persons with disability who do not have people to assist them, those who cannot come out. So when we have such a school, we will go and bring those people and put them in our school. 15 years to us is like 15 days. Yes, we can't even feel it.
Okay. So before we run, I'm sure you have 1 or 2 things to say, advice to people, to parents who have children with disability and are hiding them. And
well, my advice to parents that have persons with disability in their homes is not to hide them, but to bring them out, because there's a saying that a problem shared is a problem solved. If you don't share your problems, how will you get solution to the problem? Yeah, but we also, for other persons, will advocate for what we call a social adoption. Social adoption is the way we adopt children in our homes. We're asking people to adopt persons with disability, but not that they're going to live with you as the children that you adopt. But you can adopt 5 persons with disability within your neighborhood, pay for their school fees, pay for their medicals, and give them monthly stipend for their feeding. You have adopted them as your children, and you'll be the only one that they know. So they don't need to live with you. So that's what we are advocating for. We call it social adoption, because we don't want to go into the rigors of adopting a child, going to the social development agencies of government and all the rest of them. No, we don't even say, don't even adopt. Just scatter for. You can take 1 person. So somebody said, I hope it's not social distancing. Adoption. I said, even if you like call it social distancing adoption. But what we are saying, we'll call it, our own is, we'll call it social adoption. Yeah. If you like add social distancing adoption, but adopt that person with disability as your own.
Yeah.
So we are saying, do to them 10% of what you do to your children, to yourself. Just do to 1 or 2, 10% to 1 or 2 persons with disability, and the society will be a good place for all of us.
Definitely. You know what I am taking away today, and I'm sure you are also taking away, is the social adoption. It makes a lot of sense because when we move around, we find these children on the streets. We find them in our neighborhood. They live with us, whether we like it or not, they live amongst us. And just think about you taking one child on your street to adopt and give that child a meaning. Wow. Sounds very, very interesting. Thank you for staying with us on Against All Odds. Don't go away, the program still continues.
This is Against All Odds.
I would like to first especially congratulate the Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Papa Foundation for the excellent work they have done now for 15 years looking after people with disabilities. It's only you that can say you are disabled. The worst form of disability is when you have mental disability, when you believe that you cannot do anything. But once you believe that you can do anything, as well as anybody else, you are certainly not disabled.
We are calling on the public, other good and concerned citizens of this nation, to understand and follow the step of organizations like Babando Foundation that are concerned with these persons with disability, not just as a matter of collaboration, but in ensuring that the physical facilities, health facilities, educational facilities are provided adequately for these persons with disability. We can see some people today having disability. We don't know who will become disabled tomorrow.
Babando has through the years met, turned, and touched lives of persons with disabilities and their families all over the world with various empowerment items such as sewing machines, generators, grinding machines, cooking gas, and also wheelchair clutches for the physically challenged.
I'm glad. A lot of people are smiling home. And it has been a huge impact on persons living with disabilities. Not only in Imo State, but in Nigeria at large.
In my office, I'm the only physical challenge there. They posted me down to an inside village. When I talk, people talked on my behalf. The chairman refused. Then my friend took me, reported the matter to the Papa Foundation. And they're on the matter now. And they are giving me a good report.
It has been trying for us every year of his birthday. People are benefiting a lot of things, sewing machines, grinding machines, and rice, and some other things. Now that the commission has come, we're expecting job.
Other items include foodstuff, which were distributed to all local government areas in Imo State.
We are happy that we are part of what is happening today. In fact, I must tell you sincerely, this is 15 years anniversary of Babando Foundation. This is the first time person from this community or the albinism community are participating. And this is the first time we are being recognized as a cluster in this disability group. So we are happy that we are part of it, and not just being part of it. One of my members, in the person of Monique Mary Mboma, was one of the people that actually benefited from the gift items. And we are very happy that she was given a gas cooker and I think some bag of rice.
Before now, we gave them palliative during COVID. Local government by local government, even at FCT, we gave them palliatives there. And this one, all these things before 1 week now, all of them will be shared. And not only sharing it, we still have Christmas party for them. Every 3rd of January, we do Christmas party for them at the country home of Senator Stephen.
There's still a lot to be done. Although we've existed for 15 years, it is not without challenges. We face challenges, different issues, and we overcome them every now and again. So this year's event, it was supposed to be on the 30th of October, but because of the protests in the country, we shifted it for this health and safety of our guests and special citizens. We shifted it to today. We have had it. You can see for yourself. We had over 800 persons with disability. The hall is quite big. We have, the overflow as well. People were there. Dignitaries were here as well. So this year, like I said earlier, we even did a lot better than we have been doing. And that is how life really should be. Every year should be better than the previous. So we did a lot better this year than we have ever done.
The foundation also partners with wounded soldiers and presents empowerment items and foodstuff to these men who were caught up with disability in the line of duty.
Today, Babando Foundation wants to remember them so that we are giving 21 bags of rice, we are giving wheelchair, we are giving generator, we are giving gas cooker so that they can...
The Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Mr. James Lalu, lauded the efforts and contribution of Babando Foundation to the well-being of persons with disabilities.
Sincerely speaking, Babando Foundation has now become a movement. I am a proud member of the Babando Foundation. Babando Foundation has touched life of persons with disabilities, thousands of persons with disabilities across the country. For the past 15 years, Babando Foundation has been organizing this empowerment program. Today, a lot of our people have moved from poverty to something in the society because of the impact of Babando Foundation. He has been doing this, touching life, not only in the southeast, but touching life across the country. Babando Foundation is a very, very important organization to us here. Sincerely, the establishment of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, I want to say on behalf of the management team of the Commission, deeply appreciate the wonderful support we enjoy from Senator Osita Izunaso. This Senator Osita Izunaso was the first person who made the movement to ensure that the newly Minister for Humanitarian Affairs look into this National Disability Act and ensure the implementation of this act, which brought the Commission. Now, today, we have the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, and we say it is courtesy of President Muhammadu Buhari, who signed the National Disability Act, and then went ahead to approve the establishment of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. We are now becoming proud citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria because we are being carried along in the system of things in Nigeria. For the Babando Foundation, the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities have already recognized Babando Foundation as the #1 partner to the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. And we are going to work closely with the Senator Osita Izunaso to ensure that more impact are made by persons with disabilities.
For persons with different forms of disabilities, it is a day of coming together to communicate, eat, relax, and of course to go home with something to help them economically. For Babando Foundation, its mission is to provide qualitative education, housing, skill acquisition, healthcare, and advocacy for persons with disabilities across Nigeria.
Surely, everything that has a beginning definitely has an end. To mark the 15th year anniversary of the Babando Foundation, it has been so much fun. The event has been packed full with persons coming from far and near to grace this event, all for persons with disability. They are living today very happy. You imagine when we started, this whole place was actually stacked full with people. And these persons are living better than they came. Yes, you will agree with me. We saw them going home with different items, which will better their lives for a long time coming. Things will definitely get better, will get bigger, and will get brighter. Together, we can build an inclusive society. If you and I come together, these persons will definitely be comfortable. It has been against all odds on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, and my name is Doshima Pius Ikiravi. Let's do this again next week. Bye-bye.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
I never get this kind of thing, or I hear it. Abuja Intraproducers Agency then called me because we are partner with them. They say we should come. There is a survivor fund that the government wanted to give technicians.
They capture everybody, including food seller in my own workshop.
When my chairman called me that there is palliative something, that I should come and take my cash off. The money now come, and that money helped me a lot. As a widow, where there is no husband. So it's this thing that I used to help myself, and that money helped me and pay some of my children's school fees.
It don't reach almost 40-something years back where I did for this Nigeria. I never get this kind of thing, or I hear it.
It is only this government, President Muhammadu Buhari, likewise in Vice, that he recognized a mechanic.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go.
Stranded container in the Suez Canal refloats and currently being secured. Federal government labor to meet mid-April on petrol price adjustments. Africa signs historic agreement with Johnson & Johnson for 400 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines. Plus, oil prices fell after news of ship at Suez Canal had been refloated. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we are reaching you from Abuja, the Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar. Now let's begin the program with business development. The federal government has launched a 50 billion naira export expansion facility program, grant management system, and flag off the Export Development Fund for non-oil exports. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Nia Adebayo, while flagging off the grant, said export growth is at the center of the ministry's strategy for diversifying Nigeria's sources of foreign exchange.
It will also provide economic incentive to ease the economic effects of COVID-19 on players in the export sector, fast-track the zero oil plan to create jobs and further expand other avenues to earn foreign exchange in Nigeria other than crude oil.
The Export Development Fund would serve to complement the other areas that were not covered by the MSME Survival Fund. That is for export-oriented businesses.
Organize the structure under 7 strategic focus areas, namely capacity building, export aggregation, export inclusion, emergency intervention, export trade facilitation, institutional strengthening, and market development.
Now, the stranded container ship blocking the Suez Canal for almost a week was refloated in the morning and is currently being secured, raising expectations that the vital waterway will soon be reopened. Inchcap, a global provider of marine services, said on Twitter that the container vessel was successfully refloated at 4:30 a.m. local time and was being secured at the moment. The 400-meter-long evergreen became jammed diagonally across a southern section of the canal in high winds early on Tuesday, halting ship traffic on the shortest shipping route between Europe and Asia. At least 369 vessels were waiting to transit the canal, including dozens of container ships, bulk carriers, oil tankers, and liquefied natural gas or liquefied petroleum gas. In a historic COVID-19 vaccine procurement agreement signed on 28 March 2021, all African Union member states through the African Vaccine Acquisition Trust will have access to 220 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson single-shot vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine, with the potential to order an additional 180 million doses under the leadership of the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. The vaccines will be made available to African countries through the African Medical Supplies Platform over a period of 18 months. The transaction was made possible through the $2 billion facility approved by the African Export and Import Bank, who also acted as financial and transaction advisors, guarantors, installment payment advisors, and payment agents. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has set 50 million naira as minimum paid-up capital for warehousing and collateral management companies in the country. The threshold was among several rules rolled out by the Commission for the sector. A statement by SEC on Sunday explained that the new rules will ensure that the nation has a vibrant commodities trading ecosystem, which will in turn translate into foreign exchange earnings for the country. According to the rule, every warehouse that stores commodities to be traded on a registered exchange shall apply to be registered by the Commission, while the Commission shall maintain a register of all registered warehouses, which shall be published on its website. Other requirements are that the warehouse shall have appropriate security arrangements in place, have adequate trained staff with expertise and knowledge of scientific storage of commodities, have requisite equipment for weighing and quality measures of commodities, as well as have comprehensive insurance cover for the building, equipment, stock, and other items as may be necessary. As part of its commitment to a successful implementation of African Continental Free Trade (AfCFTA) agreement, the federal government said efforts are ongoing to establish a trade remedies authority to enforce rules of origin and tighten borders against fraudulent invoicing. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment Adeni Adebayo made the disclosure in Lagos as part of the nationwide sensitization visit to states by the National Action Committee on the AfCFTA. Adebayo said the National Action Committee on the AfCFTA, which he chairs, is collaborating with the National Trade Facilitation Committee, domiciled in the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, to facilitate the execution of the Regional Trade Facilitation Roadmap. The minister highlighted the AfCFTA implementation plans to include domestication of AfCFTA agreement, border enforcement and rules of origin enforcement, trade facilitation and ease of doing business, production and service capacity growth, power and trade logistics infrastructure, market access, skills and human capacity development, and quality infrastructure. Governor Sanwo-Olu said Lagos State will explore all the opportunities inherent in the AfCFTA agreement to grow its revenue and GDP base and create employment for youth. The committee's strategy is to work with the states based on their areas of comparative advantages, and Lagos State has been identified to have trade strength in ICT, telecommunication, transportation, and financial services. Now, oil fell on Monday as a container ship blocking Suez Canal for nearly a week was partially refloated, raising hopes the busy waterway will soon be reopened and has fuel demand in Europe stayed weak. Brent crude was down 29 cents at $64.26. Look at Nigeria by relations as the process from the coronavirus pandemic to permit permanent representative of Barbados to the World Trade Organization. He also chairs the Trade and Development Committee at the WTO. Welcome to Business Express.
Thank you.
Perhaps let's start with Suez Canal. What are the implications to the global trade, especially shipping lines on that route?
Yes, this is a very important question and very timely. As you can imagine, the Suez Canal serves as a very major hub and channel for international trade. And given that shipping constitutes a significant, the majority of where trading is done, it has major implications. One, in terms of cost, is going to be a lot higher now because there's a lot of delays within the shipping system. Secondly, the timelines for goods to be delivered across the world is not going to increase. So already we're starting to see a number of dislocations. Additionally, we would have seen in the last number of days that the cost of oil, for example, would have also risen as well. So the implications are huge. And this comes at a time when the world can least afford this, because given that the disruptions that are already taking place as a result of the pandemic in the supply chains and also with regards to the overall growth of the global economy, this could not have come at a worse time. But we're optimistic that those in that part of the world can get it addressed as quickly as possible. It's going to call for a level of creativity as well in order to ensure that goods can reach markets in a timely fashion. And hopefully countries can mitigate their losses, companies can mitigate their losses, and ultimately the consumers who are the beneficiaries of trade can also, over time, be able to absorb the shocks that this has really caused.
Okay. You were part of the Director General's team to Nigeria. How would you describe your engagement here?
Well, I must say that the trip to Nigeria with the WTO Director General was a very, very, very successful one. Firstly, let me pay tribute to her again for being chosen as the first woman and also first African to be elected WTO Director General. She has done a tremendous job. Within her first couple of weeks, she's hit the ground running here in Geneva. But also in terms of the trip, one of the things that I must say is that the DG was able to really, in her trip, speak to the Nigerian people, the government, and to also show them the opportunities that can be derived even further through the WTO. As you know, Nigeria is the largest economy within the African Union, and certainly given where the world is going now with regards to trade in the advent of the pandemic, how do we rebuild a stronger global economy? Nigeria, therefore, has a number of opportunities that it can derive from. Now, yes, of course, the economy is driven largely by the oil sector, but you have the opportunity to shift and adjust in a way that perhaps if you can get it done, the advantages for the economy will be great. How do you transition over time, therefore, from an oil economy to a non-oil economy, but using the gains derived from the oil sector to ensure that the productive sectors across Nigeria's economy can now yield benefits in ways that it has not done before. So, for example, the creation of goods that are sustainable, the creation of goods that are in demand externally. Once you can then harness that in Nigeria using the African Continental Free Trade Area as your platform for a greater level of exports across the world, I think, therefore, that your economy can thrive in ways that perhaps you had never even imagined. So all in all, I think the trip to Nigeria with the Director General, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, was highly successful. The reception that she received there was incredibly warm, and certainly the reception that I received there as well, being part of her delegation equally, was very, very warm and very, very good. So I must commend the government of Nigeria for hosting us. I must pay tribute particularly to the Minister and Ministry of Trade Investment, for example. They would have done a significant part in this, the permanent secretary there. And I think coming out of that, there are also a lot of areas that Barbados wants to engage with Nigeria in as well, because our two countries, believe it or not, have many similarities and also have many opportunities for mutual deepening of ties.
Okay. Well, what did you find as important trade quick wins?
Well, first of all, on the multilateral level, Barbados and Nigeria works very closely within the WTO. addressing issues of vulnerability in trade. How do we ensure that developing countries have a greater voice in that system? In terms of bilaterally, one of the things that I realize more and more, particularly in terms of trade and services, Nigeria with its Nollywood sector, Barbados with its cultural sector and music, there's a lot that we can do together to ensure that both our countries deepen our trade relations, not just in terms of traditional goods, but also in terms of services. One of the things that I've made note of is that given the structure of your Nollywood sector and the huge demand that it has in Barbados and the Caribbean, one of the things that we're looking to explore is that Barbados becomes the premier destination for the Nollywood sector to shoot its films outside of Nigeria. As you can see in my background, this is perhaps just some of the different lovely beaches that you have. There are many like it, excellent infrastructure. Technology is high in Barbados, so it's the sort of place as well that both your artists and your film crews and everyone can come to Barbados and have world-class venues in terms of shooting their films. But in addition to that, in terms of trade, Barbados is an excellent place for investment. And right now, as I can tell you, the country continues to be open for business. And we therefore encourage the Nigerian business sector to see Barbados as an ideal place to do business. We have a very stable and strong economy based on democracy as well, where for example, $1 US is 2 Barbados dollars in terms of our currency peg. We have the lowest corporate tax rate in the world that is OECD compliant. And therefore, we encourage businessmen from Nigeria and the continent, really, to see Barbados as the place where you want to do business, where you want to set up your companies and to derive great gains for your companies. So there are lots of things that we can do together to really deepen our ties. There's no secret, Barbados also is the home of rum. We invented rum. And therefore, our premium rum certainly will be of attraction to those in Nigeria who want to enjoy some of the offers and products that we have.
Okay. Considering the need for nations to diversify, do you see Barbados making any gains from the Nigerian entertainment industry?
Oh, definitely. As I mentioned to you just now, the Nollywood sector, it is incredibly popular in my part of the world, certainly in Barbados. Most people that I know are very much into Nollywood films. And therefore, one of the things, as I said, that we're looking to do is to say to the Nollywood sector, the film producers, that when you're looking for places to shoot outside of Nigeria for your films, Barbados is that place to do so. As I said, we have excellent facilities, we have excellent infrastructure, technology. The landscape of the country lends to the sorts of things that you may want to do in your films at the high end as well. So in terms of that, that is something that we really want to work with Nigeria in offering an even higher value added in terms of the film sector in Barbados. There's no secret, your country, Nigeria, continues to produce first-class world artists. Burna Boy, who would have recently won a Grammy. You have the likes of the Wizkids and the Davidos. And we also, as you know, Barbados is the home of Rihanna. And therefore, our two countries can do a lot in the creative sector, certainly with music, in ensuring that a Barbadian-Nigerian cultural fusion can be done in a way that we have never done before. And I think once our two countries put our heads together and get our artists from Barbados coming into Nigeria and vice versa, more on a sustained basis, there's no limit of what we can achieve together.
Okay. Looking at the emerging sectors and perhaps value chains, what are the innovative ways to make this happen, considering the fact that transportation is an issue here?
Well, I'm glad you raised that point. One of the talks I've been having with your government, there's nothing concrete as yet, but there is scope for the exploration of possible air links between Nigeria and Barbados. Barbados is a country in the region, in the Caribbean region, that at the moment is a hub for international transport, both air and sea. So we have daily connectivity from Toronto, Miami, New York, London, and it serves as a major hub. But the time has really come for us to have flights going from Barbados to the mainland, okay? So these are the things that we are exploring between the two. where, for example, through an air services agreement, we can then build on the fact of trying to explore direct flights from Nigeria and Western Africa as well into Barbados and vice versa. That will drive the business, that will drive the tourism between our two countries and lend to the sorts of ideals of what we are trying to achieve in terms of the cross purposes of tourism, trade, investment, culture as well. And one of the things that makes it a lot easier is that to travel into Barbados, as you would have seen before, as we were speaking before, the visa requirement is not, there's none for Nigerians coming into Barbados. So for that business transaction travel, it's a lot easier when you're planning your business to come.
Okay, during your visit to Nigeria, which food did you enjoy most?
Oh, that's a tough one, but certainly I have to mention jollof rice, plantain, which we eat a lot of in Barbados. It was incredibly good, incredibly good. Some friends tried to offer me something called Advocacy soup. I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chad Blackman, Ambassador, Permanent Representative of Barbados to the World Trade Organization.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now turning our attention to the Nigerian capital markets. The stock market exchange closed today's session on positive. On a positive, the all-share index appreciated 0.71% to close at 39,493.37 basis points. A total of 522.1 million shares valued at 10.6 billion naira exchange hands in 4,566. Market capitalization stands at 20.6 trillion naira. And we have the top trades. The most active shares are Guarantee Trust Bank, which has a volume of 230 million shares valued at 7.3 billion, followed by UBN Holding with 79.2 million shares valued at 419.8 million naira, and followed by WEMA, 51.9 million shares valued at 31.7 billion naira. Now moving on, Asia Pacific stocks mix. Shares of Nomura plunged 16% after flagging potential $2 billion loss. Bosside Abel has details.
And welcome to the Global Market Review. I am Bosside Abel. On Friday, all three major benchmarks rallied to their session highs into the close, with the blue chip Dow closing about 450 points higher. The S&P 500 eventually climbed 1.7% to hit a record closing high. The Nasdaq Composite wiped out a 0.8% loss and ended Friday 1.2% higher. However, in early trading of Monday, stock futures traded lower after a rush of broad-based late buying push that the S&P 500 to a record high in the final minutes of Friday's sessions. Futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average implied an opening loss of 130 points. S&P 500 futures and Nasdaq 100 futures also traded in negative territory. Investors are also awaiting update from President Joe Biden's infrastructure plan, which could cost $3 trillion. European stocks were mixed in early trading Monday, tracking positive sentiment seen elsewhere at the start of the trading week. It was a positive early trading in Asia, as markets are expected to get a further boost from reports that the giant container ship blocking the Suez Canal has been refloated and it's been secured. The vessel is one of the largest container ships in the world and became stuck last Tuesday while entering the Suez Canal from the Red Sea, holding up many other cargo ships in the process. The Nikkei topped 0.71% to close 29,384.52. Shanghai Composite topped 0.5% to close 3,435.3, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index closed a little change at 28,338.3. Africa's stocks also recorded positive open in early trading, with most stocks posting gains, but for Nairobi's all-share, which depreciated by 1.4%. That's the Global Market Review. I am Bossede Abel.
Well, thank you, Bossade. The dollar began the week firmly and within a whisker of milestone peaks against the euro and yen on Monday, as U.S. economic strength and a vaccine rollout proceeding much more quickly than in Europe drew investors into the greenback. And that concludes Business Express. Business Express returns tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Do be safe out there.
NTA, you can't beat the reach.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
This is the network service of the NTA.
The way a team plays as a whole determines its success. You may have the greatest bunch of individual stars in the world, but if they don't play together, the club won't be worth a dime. And that's why the fight against corruption is for all. Join the EFCC in its crusade to rid Nigeria of corruption. Hello and thanks for joining us on another episode of The Eagle. My name is Aisha Muhammad.
Imagine a society where everything works. Durable road networks, stable electricity supply, portable water, well-equipped and functional healthcare facilities, quality education for all, affordable housing schemes, social security benefits, job creation, and a lot more that makes life comfortable to live. That is an ideal society. We can only achieve these if we all play our part. Say no to corruption to enjoy these benefits. Kill corruption to save Nigeria. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
The Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Abdulrashid Bawa, has promised to partner with the National Institute for Security Studies in the fight against corruption. The EFCC boss made the promise when the management of the institute paid a courtesy visit to the Commission's headquarters in Jabi, Abuja. Here are the details of the visit.
The chairman of the EFCC, Abdulrashid Bawa, who thanked the delegation for the visit, promised to work with the institute in the areas of intelligence and due diligence. He told the visitors that in keeping with his promise to run an intelligence-driven and proactive agency, he has created a directorate of intelligence.
Our core mandate is investigation of economic and financial crimes, prosecution of it, and of course, issues of prevention is always there. We are mandated, of course, by the functions that we are to perform, to also engage with strategic partners within and outside the country. And we have always worked, your parent organization, the Department of State Security Service, the DG is a board member of the EFCC. We have a saying that the EFCC is the most cosmopolitan agency in the country. Looking at the composition of the board, you know, almost everybody is here. And we are very happy about it, and that is what is making us to be unique. And the issue of partnership that you say, that is one of our core values. Our core values are courage, integrity, leadership. Partnership is there, and we are always willing to partner with institutions like yours to see that our objectives are met at the end of the day. As you know, we have our own academy where we train our cadets, where we have career development courses also taking place. But then we need partnership with other institutions that will come and add value to what we are doing.
Speaking earlier, the Commandant, National Institute for Security Studies, A.S. Adeleke, said the purpose of the visit was to partner with the Commission in the areas of networking and due diligence.
We are here to let you know that your drive, while we were listening to you during your meeting address, we felt we could partner with you, do what we call, we want to network, we want to stand on tripod 3. That's networking, partnership, and due diligence with the EFCs. We know we can be we can network with one another in areas of training because we have the experience and where we have to do that in our partnership. Aside from the flagship course that we run, which is a 10-month duration, we have different modules, and we have people between deputy directors and above, from the military, paramilitary, regulatory agencies, and of course we have international participants, particularly our neighboring countries, the Ghana, the Gambia, the Liberia, attending the program.
The NISS boss promised the Institute's assistance to the Commission in respect of the new Directorate of Intelligence. Adeleke was accompanied on the visit by Deputy Commandant and Director of Studies, D.E. Egbeji, Director Research, Estimates and Library Services, Dr. A.A. Karim, Study Group Coordinator, Professor E.E. Alemika, Syndicate Coordinator E.E. Oyeyele, and Director and Staff Nka Obi. Martha Eche for the Eagle.
Next, our court update with Martha Eche standing by to take us through. Over to you, Martha.
Justice M.T. Mohammed of the Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, has convicted and sentenced Managing Director, Chemtronics Nigeria Limited, Jonathan Alatoru, and his company to 10 years imprisonment for conspiracy to commit felony and obtaining money under false pretense to the tune of 200 million naira. The offense runs contrary to Section 1, subsection 2C of the Miscellaneous Offences Act, Cap M17 of the revised edition Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2007 and punishable under Section 1, subsection 2 of the same Act. The 10 years imprisonment is to run concurrently. The court further ordered that the Corporate Affairs Commission should wind up the second convict, Chemtronics Nigeria Limited. In addition, the convicts were jointly ordered to pay back the 200 million naira fraudulently obtained from Sterling Bank. An alleged fraudster, Colin Samuel, who obtained $8,000 as COVID-19 benefit from the U.S. state of Virginia, has been convicted and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment by Justice P. Malong of the Federal High Court sitting in Kaduna, Kaduna State. Another fraudster, Oko Kingsley Chukwemeka, also bagged 2 years in prison for fraud. Samuel had, upon arraignment on March 11, 2021, pleaded not guilty to a one-count charge that borders on impersonation and obtaining by false pretenses brought against him by the Kaduna Zonal Office of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He was arrested in Jos, Plateau State, where he fraudulently represented himself as Ashley Cooper, an American citizen affected by COVID-19, and obtained $8,000 in Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, PUA, from Virginia, United States. Investigation reveals that Collins redeemed the $8,000 benefit through Bitcoin wallet addresses he got from various cryptocurrency traders. When the matter was mentioned on the said adjourned date, which was 22nd March 2021, the defendant pleaded guilty to an amended charge, prompting the prosecuting counsel, P.C. Onyeneho, to ask the court to convict and sentence him accordingly. Justice Malong consequently convicted and sentenced the defendant to 2 years imprisonment with an option of 500,000 naira fine. The convict is also to forfeit the following items: 1 Toyota Camry 2010 model car, an HP EliteBook 840 laptop, and iPad model A1396. The convict is to pay the sum of $8,000, which is equivalent to 3,296,696 naira 48 kobo, found in his Access Bank account as restitution to the victim, which is the state of Virginia through the United States Embassy, Abuja. In the same vein, Chukwemeka, who had pleaded not guilty to one-count charge of impersonation on March 14 when he was first arraigned, changed his plea to guilty, which prompted EFCC counsel P.C. Onyeneho to urge the court to convict and sentence him accordingly. The trial judge convicted and sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment with an option of 500,000 naira fine to be paid to the federal government of Nigeria. The convict is also to forfeit an Apple iPhone CS, Dell laptop model 7240, and a Toyota Camry 2010 model car. The judge further ordered the convict to pay the sum of $700 as restitution to the victim through the U.S. Embassy, Abuja. Martha Eche for the Eagle.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is an agency of government established by the EFCC Establishment Act 2004. The commission, by the Act, is charged with the responsibility for the enforcement of all economic and financial crimes laws, among other things. But how many people know some of the offences that constitute economic and financial crimes, which the EFCC is to investigate and prosecute? This is our concern as we look at what Section 18 of the EFCC is talking about. A legal practitioner and the executive chairman of Citizens Advocacy for Social and Economic Rights, CASA, Frank Tietie, will be talking to us regarding this section of the Act. Enjoy.
You know, it's talking specifically about acquiring a property that you know that a person knows that is derived from an offense that has been created by the EFCC Act or any other offense. That is, any person who, with proper knowledge that this property is a proceed of crime, or it has been acquired as a result, of crime, and then it's being further acquired, or rather reacquired, being purchased, bought, with the knowledge that it's a proceed of crime. It emanated from a crime that has been created from the FCC. That becomes a crime in itself. So it happens to be a crime of knowledge. It's a crime of intention. That is, you know full well the mental element of the fact that you know that this property, this house, this car is as a result of fraud or cyber crime, or it has been, a property that has been acquired by, cheating, one way or the other. Yet you decide to buy it. It's an offense. That's what it's saying.
Okay, that is if you already knew.
Yes.
Okay, in a situation where you did not know, what happens?
It's a different matter entirely.
But
there are also different. There are also different issues.
Okay.
Because it brings in issues that have to do with market overt sales of goods. Do you go to a private house to go and buy a car? You should go to a market, a car market, a car mart, or a car shop to buy a car. And so it raises issues of receiving things like stolen property. But in this case, it imputes knowledge. But when you go further in that section, it talks about knowing after coming to the knowledge, still retaining it, managing it, organizing it, which you will look at in the subsequent subsection.
Okay.
But it has to do with knowledge of the fact that a property is existing as a result of crime. You know that, and the person who knows that still goes ahead to buy it, still goes ahead to acquire it, if it is an offense.
Okay, let's move to subsection 1B that talks about unlawfully engaging in the management, organization, or financing of any of the offenses under this act. Let's get more insights from you. Maybe you should read it. It says, engages, a person who without lawful authority engages in the management, organization, or financing of any of the offenses under this act.
Money laundering is an offense that is quite common. And what people do is when you're talking about financing crimes, what comes often to mind, and the EFCC Act also deals with it, is financing terrorism. But what this section is saying is that any person that finances the commission of a crime, so that makes provision for acquiring the expertise and equipment and all of that for the purpose of facilitating a crime. And it also can do with the banking system as well. Anybody that procures either expertise, equipment, or anything necessary to the actual commission of a crime commits a crime. That's what it's saying.
Okay, moving on, section 18, subsection 1C now. It refers to a person engaging in conversion or transfer of property, knowing that such property is derived from any offense under this act. Conversion or transfer. What's the place of all of this?
You see, first, this whole section deals with the issue of guilty knowledge. You know that this property has been acquired as a result of a commission of a crime that has been defined by the EFCC Act, or any other crime for that matter. And then the person goes ahead to convert that property to his own. And this is also very dangerous for legal practitioners, because when they are involved in the transfer, because it's not talking about it's talking about conversion. There are various means of converting a property to one's own. No, but it's important that lawyers are very careful in this matter, because if you're also involved as a lawyer in the transfer of a property that you know that has been acquired as a result of an offense, committing a crime or committing an offense against a crime that has been defined by the EFCC Act or any other criminal law for that matter, is an offense against the EFCC Act. So you know as a lawyer that a person is not, a particular public officer or a particular young person is not supposed to be in possession or does not possess title to a particular property that you also know belong to the government or belong to a foreigner as a result of a cybercrime or, this what we call, popularly called a Yahoo crime. And you also now go ahead to engage in preparing deeds of transfer and all of that. With that kind of guilty knowledge, it is a direct offense against Section 18, subsection paragraph C. So it's something that professionals need to be very careful about.
Okay, Section 18, subsection 1D frowns at concealment or disguise of some things. Let me read it. It says, any person who engages in the concealment or disguise of the true nature, source, location, disposition, movement, rights with respect to or ownership of property, knowing such property is derived from any offense referred under this act. Let's throw more light on concealment or disguise of the true nature, source, location, disposition, movement, rights, and all that.
This provision of subsection 1 and paragraph D is something that is very common among crimes that are committed in Nigeria. And because you find people hiding the ownership of property, it's what is often common when you have share companies that are used in hiding money in places, in safe havens, like we have had in certain places which aid crime outside the jurisdiction of Nigeria. But in our local jurisdiction here, what we find is that people acquire property, use professionals, and then they conceal them. They conceal ownership in the land registry. They conceal ownership of certain bank accounts, whereas those who control them are different from those in whose names those accounts are opened or in those names with which the property are registered in the land registry. That is an offense that is being contemplated here under Section 18, subsection 1D. So those who are involved in it, those who actually conceal the property, and then those who apply their expertise, professional expertise, whether they are bankers or lawyers or estate agents, they are all joined in the commission of this crime whenever that happens. It's very popular. It is very common, I would say, among persons who have had access to, public property, I would say public money. In order not to answer questions with regards to justifying their means and the ways with which they come in contact with these huge sums of money or large number of property, they often use the pseudonyms. They use names of non-existing human beings to hide this property. It takes a lot of skill to do that, either within jurisdiction or outside jurisdiction, as we have in share companies and in other places which are regarded as safe havens for hiding monies that have been stolen.
Now let's move on to section 2 of subsection 2 of the same Act. Subsection 2 spells out penalties for the offences under subsection 1. Let me just point out some of the penalties again and some of the offences again. We're talking about unlawfully engaging in management, organization, or financing of any property acquired as a result of fraud. We're also talking about engaging in management, organization, or financing of the same property, conversion or concealment, and all that. Now, what are the penalties for this crime?
It's clear. The penalty, the section 18, subsection 1, paragraph, the subsection 2 is specifically saying that there is a minimum punishment of 2 years, and to my mind, it's quite a light sentence, and a maximum punishment of 3 years, quite light, because if you involve is an offense that has to do with knowledge. You see, there is nothing. So, which means there is a willful decision to deceive the public and to either to first of all acquire, then to organize, to finance, to now convert, and then transfer, with the knowledge that these properties, whether financial property or property with regards to estate property, you knowing full well that these things are proceeds of crime. They are as a result of the fact that crimes that have been defined by the EFCC Act have been committed, and the standards set have been contravened. Then you commit, you aid, you abet, and ensure that this thing happens. And to say that the Act is giving a minimum sentence of 2 years and a maximum sentence of 3 years, to my mind, is quite a light sentence. But I hope it serves as enough deterrence to those who are capable of committing this kind of crime, which has been defined by Section 18, subsection 2, subsection 1 and 2.
So you've given the opportunity now to suggest the penalty. What would you say?
Because of course that demands.
There is no option of fine here.
No, there's no option of fine, but that demands a clear need for amendment of the law or the Act. But I would say that because these particular offences, this particular crime is so common in our own jurisdiction, and it has also been used against our people, against our economy, by certain countries that have systems that are organized in such a manner that encourage politically exposed persons to take resources, commonwealth of the people, and hide those resources in those places. I would have expected that the penalty, the punishment for this offense that is so common should be higher than a minimum sentence of 2 years and a maximum sentence of 3 years. I would recommend a 10 years imprisonment for that, because in order to serve as a deterrence, we have a problem. Our economy, our political space, our total development has been hampered by public corruption, by persons who use their political positions, their official positions, and their professional positions to aid, abet the commission of crime, and that is what is being targeted by Section 18. So you make it very, very stringent and to serve as a serious deterrence to those who help others who are politically exposed or who have access to these, proceeds of crime, this property that have been acquired as a result of crime, from stopping them, preventing them, discouraging them from doing it, in order for us to have a better and a crime-free society.
Frank, the EFCC Establishment Act 2004 is packed with examples of economic and financial crimes and their penalties. Now, with everything spelled out in black and white here, why do you think people still commit these crimes?
Clearly, there is, for me, in my own practice and observation, there is a lack of capacity. The law enforcement in our clime is yet to have the adequate resources, adequate equipment to track crime. So we find a commission like the EFCC overburdened with a large number of investigations to carry out, a large number of reports to read and confirm, a large number of crimes to prevent. Because it is more important to prevent the commission of a crime than to allow a crime to be committed and then to go after the persons. I know EFCC is noted and and it's known everywhere with its with the mantra, with the motto, EFCC will get you anytime, anywhere. But it has limits as a matter of fact and reality, to the fact that it needs to have all of the resources either within this jurisdiction, to track crime within this jurisdiction, prevent crime within this jurisdiction, and then arrest those who have committed crime within this jurisdiction and outside this jurisdiction. It takes a lot of resources, and to my mind, I don't see that resources being so readily available at this moment.
Now, Frank, before we leave this segment of the program, what's your advice to Nigerians?
It is better if we have a country that that is governed by laws. And for every one of us as a people, as citizens of this country, to abide by the standards that have been set by law. Law prescribes standards. So the FCC Act, particularly with Section 18, prescribes the standards with regards to dealing with property when you know that they are acquired from the commission of crimes. It means stay clear from it. Don't have anything to do with it. Whether you are a banker, whether you are an estate agent or a lawyer or any other professional that is involved in facilitating the acquisition of property, once you know that it has to do with the commission of a crime, it came out, the monies that were used to buy it or the property in itself came out from one concealment, came out from one organization of financing a crime, contrary to the EFCC Act, stay away from it. Stay away from it, and then you can have peace. You can live in peace knowing that your conscience is free and that you don't have anybody or the EFCC coming after you, trying to get you anytime, anywhere, as they always say.
Well, hope you all enjoyed that interview. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. And that's how we draw the curtains on today's episode of The Eagle. To be part of the program, send your inquiries and suggestions to The Eagle at efccnigeria.org or search and follow us on all our social media platforms at Official EFCC. You can also send your petitions to info@efccnigeria.org. My name is Aisha Muhammad. I leave you with this parting words which says, to give real service, you must add something which cannot be bought or measured with money, and that is sincerity and integrity. Do the right thing always. From all of us here, it's goodbye. Stay safe, be kind to one another, and God bless Nigeria.
Latest entrant, latest technology. Welcome to Entel 4G LTE Advanced and experience super fast internet access today. Visit entel.com.ng or any of our stores in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt to get started. Entel. Live more.
As a nation, there have been many storms, but just like the eagle, we always soar very high above the storms. Together, as a nation, we stood against Ebola virus disease in 2014, and we conquered. Together as a nation, we shall stand against COVID-19, and we shall surely triumph. Let's do our part as citizens. Obey the health authorities, stay at home, practice social distancing and proper hygiene. When this is over, and very soon it will be, we shall dance again at the Calabar Carnival, the Eyo Festival, Felabration, Ojudeoba Festival, and Aragongo Festival. When this is over, and very soon it will, we shall flock the beaches again. We shall attend our music concerts again. We shall invite the world once again at the Lagos City Marathon. When this is over, and very soon it will be, we can return to our hustle and bustle. We will gather at our churches and mosques. We shall return to our schools and institutions. Our hope is alive. We are Nigeria. And together, we shall rise again. Nigeria Film Corporation. Powering possibilities.
I never get this kind of thing, or I hear it. Abuja Intra-Products Agency. Then called me because we are partner with them. They say you should come. There is a survivor fund that the government wanted to give technicians.
They capture everybody, including food seller in my own workshop.
When my chairman called me that there is
Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ruth Aguela. Nigeria is to unleash her enormous gas potentials towards uplifting the economy and driving industrialization as the next logical pathway to the nation's glorious future. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this at the formal launch of the Decade of Gas in Nigeria. Let's hear more from State House correspondent Adam Musambo.
The official launch of the Decade of Gas in Nigeria sets the tone for what could best be described as a revolution in the critical subsector of the nation's economy. It demonstrates the resolve by the Buhari presidency to effectively develop and utilize gas as a national priority to, amongst others, stimulate economic growth, improve Nigeria's energy mix, drive investments, and provide the much-needed jobs for the teeming citizens of the country.
I can assure you that President Muhammadu Buhari has the political will to surmount the challenges and continue in a determined pursuit of transforming Nigeria into a gas-based industrialized nation.
We are grateful to the Excellency Mr. President for the continuous support and interest in the National Nigerian Gas Expansion Program and other initiatives geared towards greater gas monetization and utilization in our country.
For President Muhammadu Buhari, it is seemingly absurd or even contradictory that Nigeria, as more of a gas nation, focused on oil over the years, hence the more proactive push towards gas development by his administration.
We acknowledge that Nigeria has still more work to do in the gas space. Gas has enormous potential to diversify and uplift Nigeria's economy for the good of the country. We intend to seize this opportunity. Our major objective for gas sector is to transform Nigeria into an industrialized nation with gas playing a major role through enhanced accelerated gas revolution.
Already, he said, remarkable progress has been made towards achieving the objectives, including developing gas infrastructure, promoting domestic gas utilization, commencing the process of commercializing gas flares, development of industrial and transport gas markets, as well as increasing gas to power. Other policies and projects kick-started include the National Gas Expansion Program, Auto Gas Policy, and the construction of the Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline.
Global developments have indeed presented us an opportunity. Gas will become the dominant fuel for generating power, not only across the world, but in Africa as well. The question now is, can we rise up to the challenge? The Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the NNPC are in various regards setting the pace.
The president used the opportunity to appreciate Nigeria LNG for contributing about 1% to the nation's GDP, $114 billion in revenues, $9 billion in taxes, $18 billion in dividends to government, and $15 billion in feed gas purchase. There were goodwill messages from Secretaries General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, Gas Exporting Countries, International Energy Forum, as well as the Nigeria LNG. The conference is a prelude to the 4th edition of the International Petroleum Summit to be hosted by Nigeria later this year. From the State House, Adam Musambo, NTA News.
The decision by the federal government to rehabilitate the Port Harcourt refinery with $1.5 billion must be commended. National President of the Niger Delta Non-Violent Agitators Forum, Wisdom Ikuli, gave the advice in a media briefing in Abuja. Mia Ogidi reports.
Here lies the solution to the challenge of fuel supply in Nigeria. The Port Harcourt refinery, not in the best of state, $1.5 billion from the federal coffers to rehabilitate it. Thanks to the President and the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timi Silva. For the Niger Delta Non-Violent Agitators Forum, these and many more demonstrate the place of the Niger Delta in the agenda of the federal government.
The huge investments
Chief Timi Silva has attracted to the Niger Delta region, among which are the commencement of the Nigerian liquefied natural gas LNG Train 7 in the famous Bonny Island in Rivers State. The over $3,600,000 brass fertilizer and petrochemical, the Olebri Otabagi Oil and Gas Museum and Research Institute, all in Bayelsa State.
Huge projects that will address unemployment and open up the economy of the region. But great synergy is expected.
During politics, you can run under political parties. But after elections, all the parties come together to collectively develop the state. And that is why I am very happy with the synergy between Chief Timi Silva and our great leader and governor, Doye Diri.
Good tidings beckons, and the youths must create an ecosystem of peace for the project to be actualized. Mayor Ogede, NTA News.
The federal government says there is no cause for alarm in the design of the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway, but blamed indiscipline amongst motorists as the major cause of mishaps on the road. Well, this is against claims that the dual carriageway was not properly reconstructed. Joy Iloagbu has details.
The ongoing reconstruction of the Enugu-Onitsha dual carriageway by the federal government is said to be a welcome development, as the road plays a critical role in connecting the eastern region to other parts of the country. However, since near completion of the Enugu bound of the dual carriageway, which was also opened up for use in December last year, motorists who ply the road have thrown caution to the wind, engaging in reckless driving and overspeeding, sometimes resulting to accidents. Reacting to a viral video on social media claiming that the dual carriageway has a barricade on the lane which can cause mishap, the Federal Ministry of Works says the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway is designed for a two-lane carriageway and a paved shoulder with asphalt.
In spite of all this, our people overspeed so much. Now, what you now have in the current situation in Enugu is that the two lanes you have, the shoulder makes it now like as if it's 3 lanes. They now run on the shoulder. As you now approach the flyover, it closes down into 2. They don't realize that what they were using before was not actually a carriageway. They are now making noise that the government, the engineers in works are reducing the width of the pavement to 2 instead of 3. They are shortchanging them. In the first place, it is not 3.
With work still in progress on the other lane of the road, genuine concerns were also raised on the attitude of some drivers who oppose the traffic on the expressway.
Our road users need to sit up. They need to be wise. Lane discipline must be enforced. Again, drivers must drive carefully. We have too much of reckless driving. Let's face it, my brother. When you look at our drivers, when the roads were bad, they were clamoring, the roads were bad. Now we are fixing it. Overspeeding becomes the problem.
Work on the road is expected to be completed before the end of the year. In Oka, Joy Iluebu, NTA News.
Right, let's head to Lagos to find out what's the latest, and Michael is set to guide us. Michael?
Thank you, Ruth. The perennial gridlock that has characterized part of Apapa-Oshodi Expressway has remained unresolved for a while now, despite efforts at bringing succor to residents. Dr. Ogunyemi, who visited the area, has an update on the situation.
For a while now, the Apapa-Oshodi Expressway has been undergoing reconstruction, with completed sections of the road opened to traffic. While the situation along some parts of the road was free around Oshodi, Ilasa and Sele, the scenario changed as we made our way towards Second Rainbow and Mile 2. Behind the wheel of this truck is Obina. Facing traffic on this route has become a familiar territory.
It's because of construction of the road, and they are from ports. They call up and their passing of motor are not sharp. So that is why the hold up will hold us down.
This
This is the Mautu area along the Apapa-Oshodi Expressway, and the high volume of traffic experienced here is because of the proximity of this area to the Tinkan Island port, as well as some bad portions of the road. And what is even compounding the situation more is because motorists are often found in violation of the traffic law, as road traffic management personnel are on ground to ensure a smooth flow of traffic.
Okada riders like Isa are also not left out confronting traffic in a bid to make ends meet.
Traffic there too much, you know. Person Okada they suffer. Everybody say not be only Okada say everybody they suffer for this legal side.
As efforts to find a lasting solution to the traffic continues, stakeholders are calling for better enforcement of the recently introduced electronic call-up system at the ports. In Lagos, Dotun Okunyemi, NTA News.
Stakeholders in the maritime sector are sustaining conversation on how Nigeria can embrace the principles of international trade to guide the interests of investors under the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. This was at a sensitization workshop held in Lagos, where the attendees were also exposed to the new essentials of global trade. The African Continental Free Trade Area is a window of opportunity to bring 30 million people out of extreme poverty, according to the World Bank. But the eventual winners will be those who have maximum control over logistics, since this is an impetus for international trade. Dealing with this complexity is spelled out in the set of rules that guide international trade, known as Incoterms.
Considering recent developments in the inland transportation of goods through the rehabilitation and expansion of Nigerian railway network and the establishment of inland dry ports in different parts of the country, we need to be adequately prepared for the increase in trading activities that this development will surely bring to international trade.
Those are the things that we have to start thinking about.
The workshop is teaching importers, exporters, and stakeholders within the port ecosystem on how to handle trade, putting into consideration variables like cost, freight, duty paid, and insurance across the African continent.
Nigeria, for example, we have rules in the foreign exchange management. They should be conversant with that and agreed on payment and agreed on documentation.
It is on record that Nigeria loses 5 billion naira to freight services annually. But stakeholders here believe domesticating international trade rules is the answer to turning them to gains.
International rules that govern trade will help the economy a great deal, and will also have a very seamless process for trade to thrive in our environment.
The first Incoterms was published in 1936, while the last amendment, done in 2020, has not only generated dialogue for AFCFTA, but created a conversation on how to make the country's economy maintain its trajectory on global stage. Time now for some messages, and when we return, the news continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Should not mask your beauty. The primary purpose of a face mask is to protect the wearer from bacteria, dust, pollen, and viruses such as COVID-19. But now that face mask has become part of our daily wardrobe and accessories, Transgreen Nigeria Limited is introducing O-Care colors. O-Care medical face mask now comes in different colors to match your unique style and different attires. O-Care medical face mask is comfortable to wear, easy to breathe through, and does not leave marks or rashes on your face, and can be specially branded to suit your taste. You can get your O-Care medical face mask today from pharmacies and supermarkets near you. O-Care.
Protection you can trust. O-Care.
Hello, I bring you wonderful news. The village headmaster is coming back to your screen. Mo wire abi mi o wire.
Teacher yo mo, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Teacher yo mo, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Ọmọ onírẹsì ti dé. Ìrẹsì ta sánsán.
Ajẹ́bó
one a better school for last meeting. Not be all this on a rugged yes school for Ijabi. I don't know for you.
Second, it's called Oja Village. Can you see? We know happy at all.
And I know that even you too, you are getting a lot of orders too. Hey, we are trying, Shao. Sweep her leg out. She was standing there. Sweep it.
I love you so much.
And how did I give you the impression that I was interested in that position?
50-year anniversary.
You mean anniversary?
I talk with that now.
Not for me.
You want make I die?
Not for me because of Pamio.
Welcome back. Let's look at security. Troops of Operation Lafia Dole have eliminated 48 Boko Haram terrorists and rescued 12 abducted victims from the criminals. A statement by the Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Mohammed Yerima, says the operation that spanned through Chibok-Damboa axis led to the recovery of several arms. Brigadier General Yerima notes that troops are presently dominating the area with aggressive patrols and on trail of fleeing terrorists. Concerted efforts are ongoing to eliminate threat associated with improvised explosive device, which has been affecting counter-insurgency operations in the northeast. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that this was at the combined first quarter Chief of Army Staff Conference and Operational Retreat held in Abuja.
No strategy, no victory, especially for those in the theater of war. So, commanders, unit heads and principal officers of the Nigerian Army are taking time out from the front line to strategize, and the periodic Chief of Army Staff Conference is the platform.
The country is also witnessing an increased spate of kidnapping for ransom, especially in the northwest and the north central zones. These security challenges, amongst many others, require a gathering of this nature to review our current operations and proffer strategies to counter emerging and future threats.
Improving on their strength and rebuilding on their seeming areas of weakness is the task before these officers.
President gave us marching orders.
Critical to the Chief of Army Staff is the need to inject more platforms, improve troops' welfare and upskill training.
I am glad to inform you that the President, Commander-in-Chief, has pledged to continue to support the Nigerian Army. As I speak, we will soon be receiving combat enablers that would enhance and boost our operations. Concerted effort is also being made to eliminate the threat of improvised explosive devices, which has been a major impediment to troops and our operations in Operation Lafia Dole.
With the recent presidential directives urging the armed forces to aggressively address criminality in the country, this platform definitely has a lot to deliberate. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Rural women in Delta State are the latest to benefit from the 20,000 naira cash grant by the federal government. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is carrying out the disbursement targeted at 3,000 women across the 25 local government areas of the state. Let's hear more from Oyinye Joshua Ifeanyi.
The Delta State focal person of National Social Investment Program, NSIP, Bridget Anyafulu, said the funds disbursed is aimed at alleviating poverty and cushioning the effects of COVID-19 pandemic on rural women. She said the women are drawn from 25 local government areas of the state.
To make sure that some of these rural women who are small-scale enterprise will be able to run their small business and manage all that they have, even under the pandemic.
Beneficiaries thanked the federal government for deeming it fit to assist them during these turbulent times.
I never expected this, but I believe that with God, all things are possible. And I'm going to use this money to pray for those who made me a benefactor today.
I'm happy at least for the first time I'm eating something from the government, so I really appreciate it. I'll take set up small business like I did do snacks before. When I reach house now, I use and carry flour, buy groundnut oil, then do my small business.
This morning, I'll use it to start little business, and I know it will heap up into a greater one.
The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development coordinates all humanitarian affairs in Nigeria. In Asaba, Oyinye Joshua Ifeanyi, NTA News.
All right, Sokoto will be our next stop, and Asmao will definitely guide us. Asmao.
Thank you, Ruth. Good evening and welcome to Sokoto. Results of local government election held in Sokoto State have been declared. Sokoto State Chairman, Independent Electoral Commission and Chief Returning Officer Aliyu Suleiman Isa declared the winners of the election shortly after coalition of the results. Sheikh Muhammad Dati completes the report.
The Chairman, Sokoto State Independent Electoral Commission, Aliyu Suleiman Isa, declared the winners of the just concluded local government council election. The Chairman and Chief Returning Officer, Aliyu Suleiman Isa, said People's Democratic Party, PDP, won all the elected positions contested in the 23 local government areas and appreciated the efforts of the political parties that contested in the polls.
Having satisfied the requirement of the law, I hereby declared the winners and are returned elected.
The certificates of return will be issued to the winners of the election soon. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
Sokoto State Government has directed the closure of Government Girls College Sokoto due to outbreak of gastroenteritis that claimed 2 lives. State Commissioner for Science and Technology, Dr. Kulu Haruna Abubakar, stated this at a press briefing. Sheikh Muhammad Dati again reports.
Dr. Kulu Haruna, while confirming the death of the second student, also said the state governor has directed the immediate closure of the school to avoid spread of the disease. The first girl that died was a student of GGC Rapa who was on transfer to GGC Sokoto due to the merger of boarding students of border communities. The second girl was also from Bodinga, who was also on transfer due to the merger of boarding students. Out of the 30 severely affected students, the commissioner said 5 have been confirmed medically fit and discharged, while the remaining students will remain at the isolation camp to avoid spread.
Actually, it is an unfortunate situation, but we all attribute it to the cause of the Almighty Allah, and we really sympathize with the families of the deceased, and we pray that the situation has been arrested.
It was on Tuesday that an outbreak of an unknown disease was reported, which led to the death of the first victim while she was being taken to the hospital. Although preliminary investigation carried out by the Ministry of Health did not find any food poisoning, it was confirmed that it is an outbreak of gastroenteritis. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
And that's it from Sokoto. The news will continue with Ruth in Abuja. Good evening.
Thank you, Asmao. The federal government has launched 50 billion naira export expansion facility program, grant management system, and also flagged off the Export Development Fund for non-oil exports. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Ni Adebayo, says export growth is at the center of the ministry's strategy for diversifying larger sources of foreign exchange. Leah Katumba-Batunde reports.
Wife, I have kids, I have people that feed under me. If this company closed down, what are they going to do? Are we going to beg on the street? So we are scared. As you can see, we are all scared. We are not happy because every day I come in, I'm afraid. I don't know what is going to happen in the next tomorrow.
This was Ibrahim Ali 3 years ago at one of the manufacturing companies in Sharaɗa Estate, Kano, a concern they attributed to the export expansion grant facility. Many stages have been passed, and at 33.3%, there are concerns over the rising unemployment figures fueled by the coronavirus pandemic. However, there is good news, as the federal government flags off the Export Expansion Facility Program, EEFP, to increase non-oil export capacity in the near term and volumes in the medium term.
It will also provide economic incentive to ease the economic effects of COVID-19 on players in the export sector, fast-track the zero-oil plan to create jobs and further expand other avenues to earn foreign exchange in Nigeria other than crude oil.
The Export Development Fund would serve to complement the other areas that were not covered by the MSME Survival Fund. That is for export-oriented businesses.
The Export Development Fund will support micro, small and medium enterprises, with technology playing a critical role here, as prospective beneficiaries would have to get online and pass through thorough checks. It is part of the 2.3 trillion naira economic sustainability plan.
The President approved 350 billion naira to clear backlogs on the EEG. So the National Assembly has approved so far 194 billion out of it, and they've been paid. So the others that have not been paid, there are some delay in the last National Assembly, the 8th National Assembly, but this one will sort it out. So those companies will benefit under some kind of COVID relief. But the one we launched today is the export development. That's the incentive that we have not used at all.
This post-shipment grant, government says, will be of immense support to factory workers like Ibrahim Ali as it works towards moving the economy from pandemic to prosperity. In Abuja, Leah Katungbaba today, NTA News.
And we'll take one more stop, and this time around it's Port Harcourt. Jenny is already set.
River State Governor Nyesom Wike says he has taken his first dose of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. The governor spoke when he played host to the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 led by its National Incident Manager, Dr. Mubtak Mohammed, at Government House, Port Harcourt. Ogedi Yekwere reports.
The governor, who said he was vaccinated at the Government House Clinic, noted that Rivers people are not averse to the taking of the COVID-19 vaccine, considering their knowledge and importance of being vaccinated. He dismissed the propaganda that trailed his inability to publicly take the vaccine.
I think this is the virus I've seen that have changed the pattern of life of our people. It's most unfortunate. And let me, through you, thank the chairman, Mr. Boss Mustafa, and members of the team for a good job being done.
The incident manager, Dr. Mubtak Mohammed, said the visit by the technical team of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 is to assess the Port Harcourt International Airport and also work out modalities that will ensure safety of air passengers.
We need to identify a quarantine facility, which is a hotel, where people who do not comply with the protocol will now be kept for a period of about 8 days, pending which they will be tested for COVID-19, and if they are negative, they will be allowed to go. But if they are positive, we'll have to keep them in isolation facilities. This hotel facility will be arranged by the state government. However, the passengers as a way of deterrent, will be the ones to make payment for the period of stay.
The incident manager lauded the Rivers State government for remaining consistent with testing and protocols aimed at flattening the curve of the virus in the state. In Port Harcourt, Oge Dinyekuru, NTA News.
Recognizing the importance of civil procedure in the practice of law, Dr. Jerry Amadi has presented a book with the title Modern Civil Procedure Law and Practice in Nigeria to the public. The book launch held in Port Harcourt attracted the academians, members of the bench and bar. The reports. The 37 chapters and 4,336-page book, authored by Dr. Jerry Amadi, is the second edition of the series. It is a compilation of cases in Federal High Court Lagos 2019, Federal High Court FCT 2018, Federal High Court Port Harcourt 2010, and fundamental rights among others.
It is a medium in the Adjacent law, medium through which substantive law speaks.
This book is based on the new rules. You should be able to read the new rules, find it sufficiently easy to use it and argue your own case, even though you are not a lawyer, in court.
Since procedure and practice in law is a medium through which substantial law speaks, guests appreciated the author's dedication, commitment, and contributions to the development of the law profession.
Jerry is a hard-working young man, committed, reliable, and dependable.
Dr. Madi admits that procedures in laws is a volatile area. Hence, the book has brought to bear key issues and divergent views in the civil procedure.
There have been practice directions which sought to provide guidance for the court during the period of COVID-19. Now, those rules also are captured in the book.
Dr. Ahmad is a senior lecturer with the Rivers State University. Another break beckons. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja shortly.
Contemporary times require practical skills to remain competitive and relevant in your organization. Therefore, take advantage of NTA TV College short proficiency courses to sharpen your professional skills. Basic Broadcast Accounting and Auditing. Date 19th April to 30th April 2021. 2 weeks. Audio Engineering, Operations and Maintenance. Date 19th April to 23rd April 2021. 1 week. Protocol, Event Management and Public Relations. Date 3rd May to 14th May 2021. 2 weeks. Intermediate Camera Operation Techniques. Date 17th May to 11th June 2021. 4 weeks. The course fee for the 4-week course is 100,000 naira per participant. The fee for the 2-week course is 80,000 naira, while the course fee for the 1-week course is 40,000 naira only. Accommodation inclusive. Venue for all the courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA TV College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College, Jos. Training you to be the best you want to be.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
NTA News 24. A 24-hour news station brings to you news and happenings 7 days a week.
News at 10 a.m., news update at 11 and 1 p.m.
News desk at 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. and late evening news at 11 p.m.
Follow us on any of our platforms and keep abreast of events and current affairs within and outside our shores.
We are on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46,
Star Times channel 101 and Free TV channel 703. Join us.
Welcome back. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has described as impressive the Nasarawa State government's effort in opening the state to global tourism. Lai Mohammed stated this when he took an inspection tour of ongoing work at the Lafia Airport. Anthony Fortson reports.
The concept of the project was for Nasarawa State to have a cargo airport, as explained by the state's Commissioner for Works.
Because of the predominantly agricultural nature of the economy of Nasarawa State and the solid mineral endowment that Nasarawa State has.
Presently at 85% completion, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says the Nasarawa State government has justified every investment being made to promote tourism.
An airport is very critical, not just for but the economic development of a place. So investing in this airport, I think it was a very wise move by the government and people of Nasarawa State.
He called on other states with such potentials to emulate the Nasarawa State efforts.
Because you all know how critical an airport is to tourism development.
With few months to be completed for inauguration, having had its maiden flight in May 2019, the State Deputy Governor says plans are underway to increase the 2.2-kilometer runway to 2.5 kilometers for the airport to be multipurpose.
Believing that they're going to add value to governance and to the economy of the citizens of the state. And the airport is one of those priority areas that we thought we should complete. And building an airport is quite expensive and it's costing us quite some money. I will thank God that we're continuing with it. And like the Commissioner mentioned, hopefully in the next few months, we'll have the control cabin brought in and installed. And once that is done and the other aeronautical devices are put in place, we shall have this airport kicking before the year runs out.
And in terms of flight safety, the airport, he added, will come handy for flights in distress. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
The digital switchover of television broadcasting halted due to paucity of funds has received a boost with the release of 9.5 billion naira by the federal government. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says reforms embarked upon by the NBC will deepen broadcasting in Nigeria and provide a level playing field for all. Lydia Sampson reports.
Have consistently pointed out that the accruing benefits of the digital switchover are enormous. Speaking on Good Morning Nigeria, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, notes that to reposition the indigenous media and creative industry that make local channels and content thrive, the issue of exclusivity and other rigid practices are being tackled by reforms.
We had to get right the legal and regulatory framework, and that's why we embarked upon the amendment of certain provisions of the code. This amendment meant mainly to encourage and ensure a level playing ground for everybody.
The minister adds that the ongoing reforms are largely misunderstood by some players, but it is in the interest of boosting the economy of content and channel owners. On the technical aspects of the digital switchover, a team of engineers explained that with the renewed political will, analog transmitters in Plateau State will be switching off in June. This is as Lagos, Kano and Port Harcourt are slated to take off 29th April.
There'll be more TV channels for people to watch. There'll be more avenue to harness the content which Nigerians are endowed with. So the benefit is huge in terms of advertisement.
Some of these pay TV are operating where the signal distributors have not yet set up. So going forward, there will be an arrangement. They will migrate from self-carrying to the platform of one of the signal distributors.
Okay, we find it very difficult to move ahead. So that's very, very difficult for us. But we thank God that federal government has actually approved some of money to be paid to us so that we can, forge ahead.
They all agree that moving forward, 75% signal coverage attainment is automatically a switchover from analog, which will not just create employment across the value chains, but boost the nation's economy. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
As a wake-up call to the growing threats of biased reporting on the Nigerian state of security by foreign media practitioners, a body of Nigeria's veteran journalists under the auspices of Vision Center for Communication and Development Advocacy is leading a conversation to change the narrative and entrench universal ethics of professionalism in conduct and practice. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
The recent scenarios that played out on the face of social unrest, triggered by NSA's protest and the rise of divisive tendencies threatening the peaceful development of the country, informed this brainstorming session. This coming together of media professionals from the print and broadcast industry, including Executive Director News NTA Mohammed Labo, provoked thought that centered on the principle of objectivity against foreign practice that exacerbate tension.
Foreign correspondents come here and only look at the negative aspect of how the army operates or how the locals are dealing with the situation. Most of the time we have our reporters there, but we rely more on foreign journalists.
Stakeholders say journalism in Nigeria should be part of the peace-building process of stabilizing all shores for the return of sanity in every sphere of life, with priority to quality editorial judgment.
The way we send the message across to the citizens speaks volume.
It is a moral burden on us as media practitioners and as journalists to make sure that we de-escalate this issue.
Let's come up with concrete solutions on how we can help the security situation in this country.
Nigeria's situation, these veterans note that, is better managed than allowed to deteriorate, as a nation of more than 200 million population can only wallow in unimaginable consequences during conflict. The challenge before Nigerian journalists here is to de-escalate conflict arising from mutual distrust and other primordial sentiment, as well as promote peace and sustainable development, which is the hallmark of national integration. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
All right. Amina is standing by in our Kaduna Network Center for the next set of reports. Amina.
Thank you, Ruth. Welcome to Kaduna. APC national leader Bola Ahmed Tinubu has commended the government and people of Kano State for accommodating and living peacefully with various ethnic nationalities. He gave the commendation during an interactive session with community leaders at the Kano Government House. Abdullah Mustafa has the report.
The interactive session attracted leaders of various ethnic nationalities residing in Kano. It is part of Senator Bola Tinubu's consultations with stakeholders on the need for Nigerians to tolerate and embrace one another, irrespective of religious or ethnic affiliation.
Things have been happening positively in Kano. Kudos to you, Baba. He appointed some of our sons into his cabinet.
The positive testimonies Senator Bola Tinubu observes are an encouragement and give hope for a better and united Nigeria.
The tribe and tongues may differ, but in brotherhood we stand.
These people, as they rightly said, we remove the tag of non-indigenous. We said they are all indigenous of Kano with primordial claim elsewhere.
Similar meeting was also held with religious leaders from various parts of the state. In Kano, Abdullah Mustafa, NTA News.
Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is training its staff on election monitoring and political party management ahead of the 2023 elections. The report. With participants drawn from the 19 northern states and FCT, the workshop seeks to improve the skills of staff to ensure that political parties and candidates adhere to all electoral procedures and laws to reinforce transparency and integrity in elections.
If we properly train our staff and they follow the law and follow the party constitution in terms of primaries, we'll minimize those changes that come after election. And we also guide, since we are monitors, we are not observers, we are monitors, we can also guide the political parties when they are doing their primaries. We can point out where they are doing wrong so that they can correct it at the time of doing it.
So our role in this regard is to support INEC, to build the capacity of the staff to be able to carry out this important function. As you all know, the political parties are very important, in the political process.
Modules on emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, as well as guidelines for regulations and electoral party monitoring activities formed part of discussions. And that's it from here. It's back to Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Amina. The APC leader in Akwa Ibom State and Minister of Niger Delta, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has urged stakeholders to work together in a renewed effort to build a strong party in Akwa Ibom State ahead of the 2023 general elections. He was speaking at the party stakeholders meeting in Uyo. Kelvin Samuel, tell us more.
The stakeholders meeting of the All Progressives Congress Akwa Ibom State became necessary as a platform to unify, strategize, and restrengthen the party in the state by creating level playing ground as well as giving its leaders their rightful place in order to take them to the desired destination with 2023 general election in view. A move stakeholders say is in the right direction and for the benefit of all.
You have a great man, you have a man that is a leader, you have a man that has a lion heart. The gospel that you have, they stand for a lot of things. We want to live Nigeria, we live Nigeria. If you want to live Akwa Ibom, you live Akwa Ibom. If you live Akwa Ibom must be Akwa Ibom.
The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, whose actions were obviously missed by the people, assured them that he is fully prepared to take the party to its rightful place in the state. He called on all party men and women to unite and join hands in repositioning the party while avoiding everything that could bring division among stakeholders.
We are going to surprise those who want to be surprised. We have the capacity, we have the followership, and we have the intellect, and we have all it takes to win election for the APC in Akwa Ibom State.
1 minute silence was observed in respect to the late APC State Chairman, Ini Okubido, while his widow was given support to help take care of the children's education. In Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
And more on the political scene, the People's Democratic Party says it has not taken any decision on any of the recommendations proposed by Senator Bala Mohammed-led APC PDP, committee on the review of the 2019 elections. Timothy Yusuf reports that the clarification is coming on the heels of speculation that the party has already taken a position.
The Senator Bala Mohammed Committee on the review of the 2019 elections was to identify factors that contributed to the party's failure in that presidential election and as well profile the way forward. The PDP notes that the recommendations will be subjected to its democratic process by relevant organs of the party and consultation.
It starts from today. We must sink our differences.
Meanwhile, a pro-Igbo for President group ahead of the 2023 general elections is asking the People's Democratic Party to trash the Governor Bala Mohammed-led committee report, which recommends the scrapping of zoning in the 2023 general elections.
Since we have decided to be a country, let us have one.
In another development, the National Reconciliation and Strategy Committee of the People's Democratic Party has recommended that any aspirant seeking to contest for elective position on the platform of the party who is under the age of 35 should be exempted from the payment of nomination fees. Chairman of the committee and former Senate President Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki made a recommendation to Prince Uche Secondus, the PDP National Chairman in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
National Chairman of the Action Democratic Party, Yabagi Sani, is advocating for the consideration of the involvement of communities in security surveillance and policing, such as the use of hunters and local vigilantes that have proved to be rewarding in many instances of the engagements. Timothy Yusuf reports that some other political parties are calling for sanctions on any party leader whose supporters are found culpable for criminal activities.
On banditry, kidnapping and other violent crimes across the country, the Action Democratic Party says it aligns with the clamor for the decentralization of the Nigeria Police Force, with states and local councils having their police formations as obtained in most countries of the modern world.
Now that the National Assembly has embarked on another effort at constitutional amendment, the ADP calls on the lawmakers to consider amending relevant sections of the law on the police.
National Chairman of the African Action Congress, who also chairs the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Dr. Leonard Zenwa, and the presidential candidate of the People's Trust in the 2019 general elections, Benga Olawepo Hashim, are calling on all patriotic Nigerians to unite and forestall what they described as very tempting campaign by desperate forces of separation to break up Nigeria.
What we ask every Nigerian is that this country has got to be one first before you have politics.
Our ethnicity and diversity is not a problem. What we need to fix are the challenges our country faces.
They also explains that a united Nigeria still remains the best alternative. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
To walk the talk affirming the safety and efficacy of COVID-19 vaccines, stakeholders in Ebonyi State have been taking their jabs of the vaccine without any record of serious side effect, which Echukwu Chibueze reports.
The coronavirus pandemic, which left countries of the world recording death in their numbers, also did not spare the economy. The desire to halt the pandemic and save humanity from its clutches saw scientists racing to get vaccines. With the breakthrough made in arriving at some vaccines adjudged to be safe on humans, the federal government once again showed her proactiveness in safeguarding the lives of the people by procuring the vaccines. Some of the stakeholders already vaccinated in Ebonyi State advised people to discountenance rumors of adverse side effects, among other lies.
So I've taken and I didn't have any serious side effect to it. You can see me talking. And one thing I want to tell Nigerians is that there is no health professional that will advise somebody to take what will kill him or her.
The second person to have taken the vaccine in this hospital is a robust response to the COVID pandemic.
I assure every member of the public that there's no bad side of it, there's no negative side of it. I took it, I didn't have even any fever at all. I didn't feel I did anything serious.
Worthy of note, according to medical experts, is that despite being vaccinated, adherence to other COVID-19 safety protocols is important. The stakeholders received jabs of the AstraZeneca vaccine. It is hoped that with time, people's poor attitude towards the vaccine will change, as it is needed for the safety of all. In Abakaliki, Ujechukwu Chibezidam, NTA News.
All right, that's nationwide. We do well appreciate your company with us. But remember, we're still on in the fight against rape and the rapists. Do well to connect with NTA. I'm Ruth Aguela. Enjoy your evening.